Hey everyone, welcome to EDCReady. Today I want to do a quick review of these guys right here. These are the Micro Recon 1 from Cold Steel, and I just want to show you guys how small these two little guys are with the Para 3 Lightweight, one of my favorite knives in my collection right now. And as you can see here, super tiny knives. Opened, they can almost fit into the scales of the Para 3 Lightweight itself, and then when you close them up, they get even smaller. They can almost fit within the blade of the Para 3 Lightweight. So some extremely small knives. And before I continue with this review, I just want to let you guys know that these are on loan from thomastools.com.my. They have helped out the channel before with loaner reviews, so you can check out their links in the description down below to help support them. You don't need to buy anything, just go through the link and check out the website. Alright, so these are the Micro Recon 1s from Cold Steel. They have two versions. This is the Tanto and then this is the Spear Point, which I'll talk about the differences between the two. First of which, let's go to the specs right here. Both of them come in super light. Both of them come in at about 1.1 ounces. We have a steel of 4034 stainless steel, and then we have the handle that is called Grivex, a 2-inch handle, and then a thickness of, just let me get my calipers, I believe it comes in at 0.1 inches. Yeah, just about there. Hold on, there we go, 0.09 or 0.1 inch depending on where you measure on the blade. There we go, it wasn't centered properly. 0.1 inch or so, and I think about the same here. Should come in at right around, yeah, right around there. I know my calipers are not exactly the, there we go, 0.1 inches. My calipers are not exactly the most reliable calipers, but just trust me when I say that these guys are extremely thin. So let's get into the review from front to back. So from the front here, I already mentioned the blade is still 4034 stainless steel. It is a steel that is corrosion resistant enough to be considered a stainless steel, and then it also has a relatively low carbon content, so you can expect it to have the edge retention of, let's say, 420HC or 8CR13 MOV. So definitely in the budget end of the steel spectrum, which makes sense because these are really cheap. We're talking about $27 on Blade HQ, and on Thomas Tools they're about 100 plus ringgit, something like that. You can check out from the link down below. It'll take you to the website. You can check it out there. But what I really like about the blade is the blade shape of this Tanto. Now both of them have very slight amounts of hollow grind, okay? Although the Tanto has a slightly more of a hollow grind, so you have your full flat grind, which is typically like that. That's on most knives, and then you have something like a hollow grind, which is that, which makes the tip right here, even though this starts off with a very thin blade, it ends with a very sharp blade right here. Both of these guys are extremely sharp at the edge, and I actually think that the Tanto is even sharper because look at the height of that micro bezel right there. So it's a very tall micro bezel compared to the Spear Point right here, and that just means it's extremely thin behind the edge. Couple that with the hollow grind, that makes it a very thin edge right here. And even then, the Tanto actually is a compound grind. So you have a hollow grind right here, and then I believe you also have a flat grind right here. So the complexity of this blade right here kind of makes it a little bit more appealing to me. Another thing why I like the Tanto is, well, because I've never owned Tanto, so I'm kind of curious. But the other advantage of a Tanto is that you get two sharp points right here, which you can use the first one to do any kind of piercing, but you also have this point right here to do any kind of utility cutting and just hold it in what you would call like a Spider-Man grip or something like that. You just pierce and then you can pull. Okay, you have this here, so when you're piercing through cellophane tape into a box or whatever, you kind of just press this much in, so it becomes very safe for the rest of the contents in your box. Just press it in and then you pull. Compared to this guy, although it has this belly, which makes it nice if you're doing any kind of these rolling cuts like this, okay, any kind of shaping or rolling cuts right here, to pierce this into the box, you actually need to angle up a little bit more, pierce and pull. Definitely doable, but a lot more comfortable with the Tanto blade right here. So this guy here is called a Spear Point. The Spear Point is typically a symmetrical kind of knife right here, on this side and on this side. In this case, it's slightly asymmetrical, which is nice. And then it's sharp on only one side. Okay, you just have a nice swedge here, which means when you cut through something that it will not like bind up on anything. If you're cutting through like hard foam or whatever, the foam will just cut and then it'll just slide through because it doesn't have anything to catch up on at the top of the blade right here. What you do need to be careful of is the thumb studs are a little bit in the slicing path. It is a very small knife. You have to understand that that does happen. So that's what I really like about the blade. It's extremely sharp, especially the Tanto. It has a nice complex grind right here, compound grind right here. I love the Tanto blade shape. If you are the kind of person that does more of these slicing cuts, then go for the spear point. So let's move back a little bit. We have here a handle material that is known as Grivex, which is definitely a kind of polymer, a kind of plastic, not so different from the Griveries or whatever that other companies like Benchmates or Spyderco uses. Very nice, and it also has nice texturing right here, making it very anti-slip, and that's very helpful because it doesn't have a pocket clip. In fact, it comes with a keychain. If I can show it to you here, yeah, it comes with a keychain because this is designed to be a keychain knife. So you definitely need the extra texturing and all this jimping in the finger chords and the top right here to help you kind of hold on to the blade a little bit better. Another thing I really like about this blade, the ergonomics of this knife right here, is that it has a bit of a forward grip. You definitely get a smaller grip right here. You can get 2 fingers and your thumb up here, and it actually locks up pretty securely in the hand because of that texturing and because of this curve that it has. This curve is very helpful for the ergonomics of this knife, and with most knives, when you hold it, it kind of points up a little bit. Now with this guy, when you hold it properly in a way that's the most ergonomic, it actually has a slightly forward angle, so that makes it very nice when you want to cut or stab into something. So it's very nice ergonomics. Really enjoy the ergonomics. The inside liners here are a little bit sharp, but not as sharp as the Para 3, and then you get some nice rounding on the edges here. So overall, surprisingly comfortable knife. In terms of the locking mechanism, it uses a triad lock, which is very famous in cold steel. It is one of the strongest locks out there according to tests that I've seen. It's kind of like a back lock on steroids, where a back lock, I don't have one to show you, but the back lock goes into a little hole in at the back of the blade right here, but there's also a little round cutout that goes onto the stop bit, which makes it lock up extremely securely. There is no blade play in any direction. Definitely not a very fidgety knife because the blade is so small and light. You're not going to be able to drop this, and even flicking it feels a little bit awkward. I've not been able to do it with my thumb. Oh, there we go. That's actually the first time I've ever done it. But you can definitely spider flick this, but you gotta hold it kind of awkwardly, where you need to press this into the meat of your hand and flick it out like that. Definitely a challenge, especially if you have bigger hands, but if you're like me, you have small size hands, glove size S right here, it's gonna be pretty nice for you. I would not necessarily put this on a keychain because if it was on a keychain, I would have liked it to be slightly thinner. This guy is just a little bit wide for my personal taste, but if you're the kind of person that carries a lot of stuff in their keychains anyway, it's not going to be a big deal for you. Oh, one thing that does annoy me a little bit about this knife is that you get the tang of the blade that's exposed a little bit, and it shouldn't cause any problems. It just like annoys me a little bit that this guy is a little bit outside. Okay, the good thing is that the edges are rounded, so it's not sharp, so it's not gonna cut you or anything. I just don't particularly like it, but you know, it doesn't really affect the function of the blade. You just gotta watch out for any kind of gunk that goes in there. You're gonna have to clean that out a little bit. It will make sure that the action stays nice and smooth. Alright, so in conclusion, what do I think about these knives? I think these knives are hella cute. This is a knife that you can carry around, especially around people who are not used to knives, where something like this guy is a little too aggressive or a little too big, where something like this guy, okay, it's considered the high speed, low drag tactical, where you will definitely be afraid of something like this guy, which looks very high speed, low drag, very ninja tactical. These guys, no matter who I show it to, whether it's a petite girl in the office who's my colleague or a friend or whatever, people don't think, oh wow, why are you carrying on a knife? That's so scary. They think that is so cute because it's so tiny, and personally I'm used to something this size, if you know what I mean. I would personally get the Tanto because of its better ergonomics when cutting and because of this little compound grind it has there. Okay guys, thank you. That is my review of it. You can check out this knife at thomasils.com.my. The link is in the description box down below, and as always, stay ready.